All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by Queen Paige DeSorbo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I literally picked this outfit out last night because I was like, what's like very chicks in the office where it's like, we're cool, we're cash, but like, we're stunning.
Love it.
Because that's the vibe I feel when I come here.
Oh, thank you. I'm obsessed with this outfit. And
Gosh, I wish I felt that vibe when I came here.
It's really just you two. I don't know about anyone else that works here, but like
even just for me, I struggle getting dressed in the morning.
Well,
so.
you look adorable.
Thanks.
No, you guys always look so cute.
Thanks.
And you guys are like in your white era.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, like you guys can wear white for the whole year.
This
Right.
is
we can.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to be like, I'm only wearing white. You know, like how some people.
love wearing white.
No, I love wearing white, but I'm not going to be like, I'm
only
wearing
It's
a white
because
dress. I'm wearing a white dress right now, but that is not on purpose.
It's because
So I
we
just
wear
happen to
so
wear
much
white.
black.
Yes, I do wear because there's something about
In the winter, it's just you're
just
wearing black,
pops.
and then the summer you're like, okay, I'll wear white.
Really love the capris though.
Thank you.
I told
Amazon.
you. Yes, I'm very excited to buy them because as a fellow short girl, 5'3",
It's all about the shin.
yeah.
It's all about the shin placement.
And
of
I
where
don't
they are.
have great calves. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure you do.
Thank you, but you're giving me the confidence that I need
can do
to,
it.
You could
to buy a
absolutely wear
capri.
capris.
They're like $7, and if you hate them, you can literally throw them away.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the encouragement. We are so happy you're here. We've been.
It's been so long.
It has been long.
I feel like
time.
we have so much. The only time. Also, let me just bring this up because I'm very jealous about it. There have been multiple times in the past few months that Craig's like, oh yeah, sorry, just like in a group chat with like chicks in the office and Noah, and we're just like laughing so hard. And I'm like, pardon? I'm like, but you're not funny. Like, you must just be laughing at them because they're certainly not laughing at you. What are you saying?
Wait, that is so funny because I will say our group chat pops off.
I've heard it. I'm like, who are you talking to? He's like, sorry, just Fran and Maria. Just like, we have so much to talk about. I'm like what?
Well, first of all, no one loves to gossip more than he does.
No.
So if we ever have
And
a
then you
question,
add us into the group.
if we first of all, Rhea and I text about it first.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
okay, we just watched this. Like, we gotta ask Craig.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, something happened recently where I was like dying to text Craig.
Yeah.
And he ended up texting us, and I was like, "Yes, Craig, I've been wanting to text you, and I'm so happy you texted us."
I love that.
And then, but
so
every
much.
time we are like texting in a group chat and you know we're gossiping, I'm like, it would be awesome if Paige was in this group. Like she would.
I mean, add
I'm
me in.
gonna add you in because I was like, I feel like she would be loving this right
You
now.
know what's funny is like, you know, like obviously you guys have fiancés. So like, you know, when something happens in your life, like the first person you want to tell, whether it's like good or bad or funny, you're like, I gotta call my boyfriend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously I have that with Craig, but it's such a different situation because he loves gossip so much more than anyone I've ever dated in my life. And being on Bravo with him, I always say like, what a weird high school that we're in that like
Yeah.
we just like never graduate from. And so like when things happen in the Bravo world and I'm like, no, I have to call my boyfriend right now. I'm gonna
Yes.
freak out. Like I need to know what he thinks.
No, it's literally the best feeling ever. And my fiance is sort of the same way because he works at Barstool.
Yeah,
And it's kind
so
of
it's like the gossip is
like it's like
so layered.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
listen to this. But it is funny because the same situation where I'm like, oh my God, Craig just said this. And
Yeah.
Marty will be like, because him and Craig, they'll text a lot
Yep.
too. He's like, wait, like I love Craig. Like, what's he saying?
He just also refers to us as like the girls now, which
No,
we
yeah,
love.
the
Like he's like,
girls.
I'm talking to the girls.
It's so funny. Well, we have to add you in
Yeah.
because honestly, some
No, I feel like
Some
there's a
good
lot
stuff
of
get-
tea
and
goes
we
on.
and I get some good comments off in there. You
Yeah.
know, like I've learned that like I could let it fly, and I
Yeah.
think I could definitely let it fly
Totally.
with you too.
And
Totally.
with Craig, I feel like I've beaten him down so much that like now he gets like sarcastic humor and like we're Italian, we're gonna make
Yes.
fun of you, we're gonna
Yes.
call
Yep.
shit out. So he
Yep.
can hang
Yep.
now.
Yeah,
Yep.
like did
Exactly.
you see
I'm proud
at
of him.
our one of the live shows that we did when they were the guests that we put his workout video on and we put your comments up and we just
No, it
roasted
brought
him for like
such
20 minutes.
joy to my day. I loved it so much because sometimes I think he thinks I'm just really harsh,
Right,
Because
right.
I'm the one dating him, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. And every girl is thinking, what the fuck is this guy? And I'm just the one that, if I don't tell you, who's gonna tell you? I don't
Exactly.
want you walking around just looking ridiculous. I have to tell
Sometimes
you.
they,
100%
sometimes
need
also
honesty.
men need their female friends to be like,
Yeah.
okay, we sorry, like, whoa,
put it in here.
what's that? We're also very similar.
Listen,
Yeah.
absolutely. There was a situation recently where one of the guys in this office, his fiance texted me and she was like, Rhea, have you seen Dana today? And I was like, no, I saw him, but I didn't like look too closely. And she was like, next time you see him, please take a look at his shirt and let me know what you think. And so I texted her immediately after I saw his shirt and I was like, this is so bad. And she was like, please tell him it's really bad. And I was like, Dana, that is seriously one of the worst shirts a guy could ever wear. And then my fiance was like, Dana, trust me, she made me throw mine out like literally a year ago, because it's the shirts that are like cut off sweatshirts, like they're t-shirts, but they have
a
the
hood.
Craig
and
has
the
them.
strings.
Craig has
And
them.
I think they're the worst shirts a guy could wear. And I was
Yes.
like, Dana, I was like, this. I was roasting him, and I
It's
was
like a cut-off sweatshirt.
Yes.
I was texting his fiance, and she was like, thank you so much. Like, we accomplished this together. Like, they'll never wear these shirts ever again.
The amount of flip-flops I've just chucked in the garbage. And Craig will be like, where'd they go? I'm like, I don't know. I'll help you look for it, though. But I don't know.
They just flopped right out of here.
And the funniest thing was Dana said to Marty, he was like, I've seen you wear these shirts before. He goes, yeah, until Rhea made me throw them out.
Because is it the one that has like the horn on it? Like, is it the same brand?
I don't know if it's the
Craig
same
has
brand,
them.
but it's just
and I feel
like
like it's like the Rock like brand. I'm like, okay,
That is something
you guys
he would
don't need
wear.
to all wear
You're not a
these.
wrestler.
Yeah, like he's not gonna become your friend.
oh my gosh, so funny. Well, we want to talk about this season of Summer House.
Yeah.
MVP
Thank
of the
you.
season.
I feel like I
As-
didn't really
as
do
always.
much, but thank you.
But that's the way,
yeah,
that's
I just
best
like
case scenario.
I just say some things.
You-
I make observations.
Yeah.
I feel like I watch the show as we're filming as a viewer. I'm like, oh, people are gonna love this.
Yeah, exactly. But well, that's why everyone loves it, because you're the fan reflection.
Yeah.
For us, like everyone watching is like, oh my god, Paige is so true, because we feel the same way.
Because a
And
lot of
she's in
the
it.
drama, like I'm not directly in, but like I'll insert myself.
And they're
It's
your
like, What are we
friends.
doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So
And you said you make observations, but you make correct observations.
I
Like
try.
all of your, I mean, we saw, the reunion when Danielle said, like, you think your confessionals are hilarious, and you were like, they are hilarious.
yeah,
And
I
have
pride
to say,
myself on confessionals.
I have to say, the one thing, I love many things about you, but one of the things I love about you the most is that you will say something and you will stand by it no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's a joke that maybe, like you say on Giggly Squad, like I remember that video that went viral about Travis Kelce, and you were like, it's like an ick to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Was
And I
so,
stand by it.
and it's so fucking funny, and you stand by it, and you didn't get up there and go, guys, it was a joke. It was a joke. Which
No. Like if you
I
can't
find
get
myself
the
doing
joke-
sometimes, because I feel like
Yeah.
I get nervous that people aren't going to understand the joke, even though it's very obvious it's a joke. But like, I love that you are just you.
Sometimes when people don't understand my joke, I actually like it better because I'm like, oh, good. Now I know you're not my audience.
right. Yeah.
You're not even who I wanted
right.
to get it. Anyway, I feel the same way about outfits. Like when people are like, that's a horrible outfit. I'm like, thank you so much, because none of your outfits align with me either.
Yep.
So like, I love it.
You almost click the profile and you're like, oh, you wouldn't
wouldn't
never
get it.
wear this outfit.
Right. Like I get that you don't get it and I'm cool with that.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's what I try and do on Summer House, just like make observations and also like be light about it, because sometimes we do have like intense drama and I'm like, okay, it's not the end of the world, so like we can make a joke here and there.
Yeah.
But
How was the reunion filming? Obviously, like that had to. Once again, you're not in it, but it's like kind of
You're in it.
It's kind of exciting to watch it happen, especially
the
with
reunion is the worst day of the year.
It's long,
Because
right?
it's just long
Yeah.
and it's a lot of stress leading up to it. Like, you know that you're waking up at 5 a.m., you're getting in hair and makeup, the boys are rolling in at like 8:30, you're on set, you're sitting there by 10 a.m. And then you know for the next full day, no matter what happened, anything could happen. Like anyone could have a feeling that maybe they didn't have during the season when you were filming, or maybe they saw something a week ago and they're freshly pissed at you. So literally anything could happen. So like the anxiety and stress of that, like I've had multiple panic attacks while we were filming that like no one would know, where I have like completely disassociated. And like Andy will ask me a question, I'll be like, I'm sorry, I actually wasn't listening because I was trying to figure out if my head was gonna fall off my neck.
You're like, I'm secretly sweating.
Yeah, I'm like
profusely.
profusely sweating. So it's like an uncomfortable day in general. And then if you're in a seat where you're like, oh, holy shit, I don't even like this person, you don't feel comfortable for the whole day. So you literally want to die. But this year, there's one thing I did differently, and I'll never not do this. I made my mom come down.
Smart.
I made my mom come down the night before and sleep with me the night before.
Aww.
So then, like, the morning I woke up, like, I was way more calm. And then when I got home, she had pasta and chicken parm ready.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I decompressed that way.
That is the perfect setup. And now it feels like you might have to do that every time.
I'm like,
going
sorry, Mom,
forward.
now you have to come every
That is perfect. Where was your seat this one?
So it was Lindsay, then Ciara, then me, then Jesse.
Okay.
So I felt comfortable this year with like
buffer.
my seat. Yeah, I had a good buffer. I felt good. And so that is like half the battle for me because like even when you're out like normally, if you're not like with a friend, you're like, So in that setting, you need like someone to be like,
right.
Oh my
God. If you go to a dinner and you're seated next to someone and you're like, you see your friends across the table and you're like, oh.
It's this times 1,000. Because like I
Yes.
can see Amanda across the room and I'm just like, help.
Right. This season was so good.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think it was the most viewed season of Summer House yet. I think that I thought it was incredible. Obviously, a lot of drama happened. Everybody expected the Carl and Lindsay stuff, but I don't think people were expecting a lot of the Amanda and Kyle situation.
Yeah.
In which you and Ciara stepped up and you guys said some things to Kyle to stand up for Amanda, which I thought was like an amazing showing of your friendship and how you guys are as friends because you were like, you know your friend and what she's capable of. And I thought that was incredible to like say that to Kyle. But then we saw in the after show, he kind of like shaded the podcast a little bit. And
We're just silly little podcast
silly
girls.
podcast. And
wouldn't know what it's like.
right. And I just want to know your thoughts on that.
It's, you know what? It's so funny because I saw it, thought nothing of it, like went about my day. And then I had so many DMs and so many of like my high school girlfriends texting me being like, oh my God, Kyle said this about your podcast. And I was like, wait, I don't know if this is really sad or like I just don't care. But Kyle's never like thought anything of my podcast like since the day we started it. So like even when we started it, he wasn't like very, what's the word, supportive of it when we first started because no one really on Bravo had podcasts like us. And so like when me and Hannah started, even Bravo was like, okay, don't talk about Summer House. And we were like, okay, we didn't want to anyway.
Right, yeah.
We wanted it to be a little bit more
it's
pop
a perfect
culture.
escape from that.
Yeah, so like from the beginning, we never talked about our podcast with the cast because they weren't very supportive of it. So now 5 years later, I still never bring up Giggly Squad to anyone. So hearing him say that was kind of just more like, oh, he's been saying that. But I think it was the first time other people who have podcasts, who are women, who that is their career, were like, wait, what the heck? But I genuinely was like, oh yeah.
Right. And he's just like, and you know,
I've had my choice words.
We've had our opinions
season.
on Kyle this season, but I do also think like not to keep pushing the knife in a little bit, but he's sneaky oldster, and I feel like he has almost that like parent mindset of like what a job is and like what a career is, and like, well, I have a business and my business is real because I have a product,
Right.
and when he
That's a
sees
good
podcasting,
point.
he's like, oh, what's this, like media?
And
Right.
it's like
And-
all you're doing is having guests on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Your podcast
Yeah, I
is as
heard that too.
good as
Yeah.
like how famous you are. And it's like, not
No,
really.
not really.
It's actually more a relatable
Right,
thing.
you have to cultivate an audience,
personality.
as well, a personality, as well.
banter.
Yeah,
a
right.
friendship, I would say.
Even that.
Yeah.
A
A lot goes into it.
Right. I agree. And I also think that you saying that they weren't really supportive or they never even really thought about it or you didn't bring it up, he's thinking about it and he sees how successful it is and he sees you guys selling out shows all over the country.
Year,
and
really.
that's something that weighs on his mind. Like, wow, she's so successful.
And I would always, and I don't want to think of it as like a jealousy thing because in my head, I'm like, you're a guy, I'm a girl. So we already don't compete in the same lane for things. You do drinks, I do a podcast. We're totally different. I drink your drink all summer long on camera. I say nice things about it. I like whatever. So I don't expect him to go and be like, I listen to Giggly Squad and it's so funny. Like no one on my cast has ever said that to me. Not one person. None of them have ever said they've listened to Giggly Squad, that it's so funny, that they love it. No one's ever been to a show. I never bring it up.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, I don't care. Like, that's why we started the podcast, because we did like media, we did like entertainment, and we were on a reality show, and we were like, oh, we're very dependent on the episodes and what airs, and there's a lot of things that don't air because they don't have 1,000 hours to air everything. Yeah. So it's very selective. And so we were like, shoot, our personalities aren't coming full force the way we want them to, so let's start a podcast. So that was the reason we even started it. It wasn't to like get back at anyone. It wasn't to talk about anything. We've never, since the day we started, ever said the word Summer House. Ever. Like, we've never talked about it. Maybe here and there we've said like, oh, when we were on a reality show. But like, it's such a separate part of my life that even when I go and film Summer House, I don't think of Giggly Squad, because I know everyone there doesn't like it, doesn't care about it, like won't bring it up. So I've always just like compartmentalized it.
Right. And it's definitely been like that, but I feel like there's been a little bit more, because like we said, there's now, like we've been talking about like jobs and careers and what everybody's doing. Like that was such a big part of the season, was like everyone talking about their actual careers or not the show. And it was kind of like breaking the fourth wall a little bit. But there's been a lot of fan reaction this season too of like, wait a second, justice for Hannah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm always hashtag justice for
I
Hannah.
said that on one of the episodes. I was like, well, let's think back to when these two were screaming at each other. And by the way, I have to say, because if your cast members don't say it to you, I fucking die at every Giggly Squad clip, to the point where like I'm commenting on them, like I'm crying,
well, because
like
we're all just girls,
right? Yes. And so sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, like, you know, when you watch something, you're like, I've never had an original experience. Like that is that is how I feel a lot of times. I'm like the you talking about your anger in the airport the other day when you were like, fuck you. I was like, that.
LaGuardia, you can throw a fuck you at it.
Right. And
anytime
of day. That was so funny because I had recently just talked about my road rage. So it's just also relatable. It's like every girl can watch it and can relate to having one of those moments. So you guys absolutely kill me. Thank you. It is so fucking funny.
I appreciate it. And also, like, I don't like expect them to say anything about it, because like I do it with my best friend, and that's like good enough for me. Like, so I really wasn't even that mad. Didn't text him about it. Didn't like.
I kind of figured that maybe you wouldn't have like a visceral reaction to it because you are so successful on your own. So it's like, well, if I'm gonna get worked up about this, it's kind of taking energy away from like your day to day that you're working, you know.
And me and Hannah, like from the moment we started on Summer House, like this was us. Like we were always laughing, we were always like cracking jokes, we were always doing some type of bit, and I think that is what started like the riff between Hannah and Kyle, because we were new and we didn't know how it happened, and here to watch Jesse and Wes come on, same exact way. Two new guys, whole new energy. Oh, they're so funny. Okay, well, we were so funny too, but we were branded, Hannah was branded more like you're annoying, you're not a comedian, and I was branded more like you're a bitch, like you're a mean girl, like you like do outfits. And then to watch Jesse and West and like get all of this love, and which I'm so happy because they are genuinely so funny and like are great on the show. It was just funny to watch as a woman, because I was like, but I've been doing my podcast for 5 years now. It's not just something like we just started last week or something. And we've always been like this. So I've always been like justice for Hannah. She's been funny since the day she was on TV. She never wasn't funny. And also like our COVID season was a weird season. There was nothing happening. So like, they blew some shit up and like whatever. But ultimately, it was the best thing ever that Hannah didn't come back, because I don't think Giggly Squad would have taken the form that it took. And now she's doing a Netflix special. So
I am so happy for Hannah. Exactly. I really am. I think her not being on anymore was the best thing that ever happened to her. And I think she said it on Drew Barrymore's show. Like, I remember her talking about
it. Exactly.
No, but I remember
she was just talking to Drew and
and I remember the moment though, because I thought it was something that people could really resonate with, where she was like, I started noticing like her success when she like stopped caring or like trying to be something she was. I forget exactly how she worded it, but I was like, and you know what? it wasn't the place for her, but now she's thriving.
I will say Amanda Batula has texted me about Giggly Squad multiple times. Like, I see it, you're doing so well. Like, I think she even bought like a sweatshirt or something, and she's
supportive.
She's a good, like, she's a real good friend.
Amanda,
like, she's a real person.
We fucking love Amanda.
No,
I think
she's so cool.
Truly like one of the coolest people. So it was hard to watch a lot of this season because we want to ride so hard for Amanda, but it's like it's hard because she feels like she can't get out of her own way a little bit.
Here's the thing about Amanda that I think people don't realize, like, you definitely don't get it from the show. Amanda does not have a hidden agenda at all. She's not coming in to be friends with you to benefit from something. She's not talking about you to someone else because she like has some plan. Like, she genuinely is the chillest fucking girl. Like, she really does want to sip Coronas in the backyard in Jersey.
Just
and
let
chill.
her sit in the backyard and drink Coronas with her dogs.
No, she wants to watch her dogs do shit and chill.
Yeah.
But she is also one of the most naturally cool girls I've ever met. Like, any outfit she puts on, she looks good. Any way she does her hair, she looks good. Any like design or like when she threw Kyle's 40th birthday party, like that whole vision was hers. It was so cool. Like, she looked so good. So when I hear her not think of herself in that light, like, of course I have to say something to Kyle. And I feel like I started that conversation out very like, well, this is how she feels, and like very I didn't raise my voice at all. And I was like, how do you not know this about your wife? Like, she's the coolest. And also anything Amanda put out, people would buy it.
Yeah. Oh, like 100%.
I've been waiting to see because I'm like, I'll buy it. Like, whatever.
I'll buy it.
She could make, honestly, whatever bikini she wanted to, I would buy it.
Right.
Like, in a heartbeat.
And Amanda has always talked about bikinis because, like, even when we first started Summer House, she was like, my boobs are so huge, but like my bottom is like not as big. Like, so what do I? So she's always had like issues with bikinis. So like it made sense. And so I was just like, oh, I'm going to like stick up for my friend.
Yeah, which I think everyone loved to see, especially the whole season. I think the ending too, it was nice to see all the girls, for the most part, get along. We obviously saw a little Danielle Gabby situation, but like you guys were there for Lindsay and way different from the summer before where, I mean, turns out you guys like had a reason to be, skeptical of what was happening, but, had to let them figure that out for themselves. But it was nice to see everybody kind of rally around. What was it like filming the reunion? Did that tone like sort of change or?
Well, a lot happens from the day we stopped filming to then the reunion. And I think obviously, like, I watch reality TV and I also like love watching it. And so I know as a viewer, like, I go off of like what I've seen on the show and like what I've seen in past episodes. And being on it, it's hard because we all genuinely live with each other 24/7. So there's so much we know about each other, so much that has happened off camera, on camera in the past 6 years that is the reason we fight with each other about different stuff. And some of the stuff, even if they showed it on TV, would make no sense to the viewer because it's like there's so much backstory there. There's so many like things, fourth wall things that you just wouldn't really get. So I always say, like, your favorite person on a reality show is not as great as you think they are. But also the person you hate the most isn't as bad as you think they are either. Some are. But so there's just so much that has happened. So when we filmed the reunion, it's very different from when we stopped filming because a lot of press happened, a lot of chatter happened, a lot of people talking this, I heard this and you said that. And so, yeah, we are in a different spot. And I think it's hard sometimes for the viewer because they just watch the season finale, so they think it's going to be the same energy. Some of it's the same energy, but some of it's not. And that's for everyone in every situation, not just Carl and Lindsay.
Yeah, it must be frustrating, like you mentioned, to have so much happen that doesn't get aired, and you also don't want to be the one to bring it up because you're almost, are you like bursting at the seams sometimes? Like, I fucking wish people knew this, but I also don't want to be the one to say it.
Sometimes yes and no, but sometimes like if like that person knows I know, that's good enough for me.
Right. Because then they won't say much because
I'm
they
like,
know you know.
Because I'm like, you want to fight with me? I have lists and lists of shit that no one even knows, but you know that I know.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
that's like the best feeling.
Yeah. And I feel like I have that a lot.
Yeah. So fair. Wes and Ciara was a little blossoming love story this season. It was really adorable, really cute. Everybody was rooting for them. It appears like, obviously, just from what we put together on social media and whatnot, that things have maybe fizzled and I'm sure it's discussed on the reunion and everything. But you had like the best point. You were like, how he will not do better than what is in front of him.
And I'm very biased. Like when it comes to my friend, I'm like, they're an angel. They're the best. Like, but like also I have eyes.
Yes.
So
no,
like,
objectively speaking.
See Ciara.
It's objective.
So I'm just like, oh wait, that was like a genuine question. I'm like, wait, but what are you looking for if it's not her? So I was genuinely just inquiring. But I will say, when it comes to West, he was a great addition to the show. Like, I would never not want him on the show. I will never, like, I'm not gonna film with him this summer or like not be his friend anymore. Like, I feel like I said what I needed to say. I defended my friend. He knows what he did wrong or what he did right. And they didn't fully date. So I think, you know, they'll have room to maybe be friends. Yeah. So it's not like he's not like a Sandoval where I'm like,
right.
Yeah, totally. And I do think there's something to be said about not crucifying somebody immediately for like a situation like that not panning out. Like you said, they didn't officially date. Yeah. Yes, he probably wronged her. Yeah. But like you said,
he just fumbled the bag.
Yeah, he fumbled the bag.
Exactly.
And I can give
but not to the point where you're like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah,
I can't
it's not
look
like,
at you.
oh my God, I'm like never going to talk to him. Like him and Jesse are like constantly texting me in a group chat, like asking me shit. Yeah. I'm like, I don't work for you guys. Shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say now. That's okay.
I'm sorry. We thought Jesse and Wes were great
additions. They were.
Jesse's great.
Have they managed are they starting to manage the attention now? Because I feel like at first that's probably a lot. And we saw the clip from Wes at the reunion. He's like, bravo. Like the fan base is mostly women.
I think they weren't. Not that I want to give them a pass, but I don't think West was expecting how many people really do watch Bravo.
Right.
Like, I think he thought, like, this is going to be, like, whatever, we'll see what happens. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, the girls
like, I don't have a job right now.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
And I actually thought Jesse was going to act more like West. And they've totally flipped it on me. Like, Jesse's been very cool about, like, people all of a sudden like loving him, and he's been very level-headed, and he's called me a lot about like different business stuff and like, what should I do this, should I do that, and so he's been like taking it like it's a job, and which I feel like you do have to do. You can't get like caught up in the sauce. And so I commend him for that.
That's awesome.
What would Jesse Solomon do?
And it's called Paige DeSorbo and ask her.
Randomly, I break out into that, and I'm like,
it's
my
so
gosh,
good.
I really
that was like the best thing I've ever seen on TV in a while.
I really got too into this
season.
And I couldn't
believe he did it. Like, I get so embarrassed for stuff like that. Like, if someone said get up and sing a song, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm literally leaving. And he was like, I wrote
a song.
I was like,
okay.
I felt like he really did like a 180, honestly, because at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about this guy. And he even said himself hitting on you or whatever. But I thought he turned out to be like a real nice guy by the end of it. And you know, he's a player and whatever. But like I
mean, he's from Chicago, but he feels like a New Yorker. Like he feels like guys kinda like in our early 20s that we would like go out with. Right. So he's very sarcastic, very dry. So like a lot of him hitting on me, I knew. Like, he's just like, okay, I'm just going to say it and see, like, how much I can push the envelope. Right. Not in, like, a disrespectful way, more of, like, a TV way. Yeah. So he's just, like, sarcastic and funny, and he's not.
Which is what he's doing online with Amanda.
Yeah, what's going on with the Amanda and Jesse comments that we're all seeing?
I love it so much. He literally was just leaning into it. He was like, I obviously, like, don't want to marry Amanda. Like, I like her. But also, he's very transparent. Like if we walk out and we're like about to go to dinner, he'll be like, you look really fucking good tonight. And you sometimes when you're filming, you're so in your head that actually makes you feel like grounded. You're like, okay, at least like I look good and now I can like film whatever we're filming or going wherever we're going. So he would do that for all the girls. And it's just I think funnier with Amanda because it's like we went through a Sandoval thing. Like imagine if that
like
happened.
People
so
were like I saw people being like, wait, why am I rooting for this? I was like,
no, low-key, I was like, wait, did I miss something?
Just fly by. There was a comment that West made on his TikTok that we saw that was kind of shady towards Barstool. And
wait, I saw, because he used to work at... What was your competitor?
He was at Bleacher Report.
Yeah, and somebody, he made a TikTok and somebody commented, like, you look like... You could work at Barstool Sports, but the person wasn't insult because she wrote back like it wasn't an insult, and he wrote back.
He said that isn't a compliment.
No, he wrote that's not a compliment with like a bad emoji, and then somebody wrote back like,
you're like ever coming on any podcast?
Well, and then somebody commented back like, wait, like I wasn't trying to insult you, like it wasn't like a what, and I guess he. Yeah. I guess,
but he loves like sports.
Yeah, and I guess maybe on the outside looking in, he probably just has like an assumption.
Paige, there's a lot of layers to this. That like very niche sports media. Oh, we hate Barstool.
I also
think
a lot of
assumptions.
He's in the new fame. Like doesn't want to piss anyone off. So he works
at Complex.
I don't like. You don't like Barstool. I don't like Barstool.
Yeah,
where like you're like.
Well,
okay.
it's like he works at Complex now.
Yeah.
So it's like his bosses are probably we don't like them. So like,
that could be it too. Because we were like, damn, we really like wanted to have him on, but like.
Have Jesse on.
He's so good. Yeah. I know that's
maybe and we're still open. It's just joking around,
you'll think about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, last thing I want to talk about because we haven't talked about Carl and Lindsay at all. But what was the like room like listening to them kind of talk for maybe the first time in real life?
You know, it wasn't as tense as I thought it was going to be. They both did a really good job, I think, of letting the other person talk. Like, there were no times where they were, like, screaming over each other. I thought they were both extremely respectful of each other. I think the best indication, because sometimes when you're so in crazy, you don't realize how crazy it is. So living with them and, like, watching them fight on the reunion, I was like, yeah, like, this is this is how they fight.
Yeah.
And so to watch Andy be like, guys, this isn't okay. I think like put it back into perspective. There's like one point where Carl says like, I think Lindsay said some really nice things today. And Andy was like, are you high? Like that, if you think that, that's insane.
Yeah.
She hates you.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a funny thing to watch that. But genuinely, from the beginning, I've never been teams. I think they both have said some of the worst shit to each other. I think they've done some of the most insane shit to each other. Some of the shit they've said, I wouldn't have even said to an enemy, let alone like someone I love. And I date Craig. I can be fucking mean. So, yeah, I think like they both, this is the best thing.
Yeah, it was really like, I just... like you said, when you're in it, sometimes you don't even like necessarily realize. We're watching, it's like they're talking about recording each other on their phones.
Which
like
is
when you get to that level where you feel you have to record your partner to possibly air them out nationally, worldwide, like that's a problem. Maybe you shouldn't get married. Like
not good.
It's
and
not.
They didn't
it's not
really
like
even touch on that as
thing.
much.
It's weird. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. And then in the after show, they were both saying like. That's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah, not
that
good.
the recording is like a thing that they've threatened before. I'm like, okay, the fights that they must have been having behind closed doors
and
is
since
crazy.
the beginning,
the way they fight on camera,
I can't even imagine what they're fighting like off camera.
No, exactly. And there really are no sides. They were just truly the most incompatible people. Yeah. Like they're just not meant to be together.
And some people are like, oh, you know, they're just real on camera and they're fighting. And like, yes, they do. Yeah. They have like full on brawls. And I've fought with Craig on camera. But like, and we went through Winter House together. Yeah. And when we got home from Winter House, I've never screamed at him more in my fucking life. So like, yes, you are obvious. Any human is a little different when a camera is on them. So like, yes, if they are comfortable having those, same with Kyle, calling Amanda a fucking bitch. Yeah. Like, and I get so mad at Craig. My fights are very different on camera than in my bedroom when I'm like, you're a fucking asshole. Like, but that's just being a human.
Yeah.
Like, and having like a little.
And I feel
Respect.
like when Carl brought up, like there were two separate things where when he said like Lindsay texts him and calls him a loser and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. But then when it's awful. But then when he looks at Lindsay and says, you want me to relapse, I was like, that's fucking mean. Like to say that to someone, like, I don't think she wants you to relapse. Like that's a crazy accusation. So just the both of them, friend, you
like,
said it, like they're just not compatible.
In the
like,
beginning of the summer when she was calling him a drug addict, I was like, oh,
bad.
I literally actively like walked away. I was like, I don't want to be involved in any of this. That's insane to say to someone sober.
Right,
like,
to just accuse them of that. Because we talked about how I think a lot of people started off being like, ooh, this is not going to be good for Lindsay. Like, this is really bad. And then it got to like, now Carl starts saying things. And they equally, like you said, no teams just... They weren't meant to be together, and thank God.
Also,
you said it. You said that he did the
I said
favor.
the day they got engaged.
Totally.
They shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that was how it was supposed to be. And clearly they had been fighting like that for so long, where it was their norm. Because if Lindsay is so adamant that she was blindsided, meanwhile we watched them in the kitchen and be like, so what? Like Lindsay, words came out of her mouth. So what are you saying? You don't want to get married?
I don't.
Like if that's coming out of your mouth, then you're having fights about your relationship.
And like I feel like we said this all from like the summer prior. Like I don't know if they ever went through like a blissful period.
Yeah, right.
Because here's the other thing. Like when you are on camera and you are dating someone, it is so easy to get lost in the sauce. Like if I really listened to everyone around me, like me and Craig would be married. Yeah. And I don't know if that would have worked out well if I had done it when everyone told me to. Yeah. So it's so easy for everyone else to love your relationship. So then you think like, oh, I'm in this great relationship. Yeah. But you're like, but you're not. And so it's kind of, easy to just get caught up in it.
And I think you do a great job of like realizing what, TV and being in your relationship
and, like, let's just, like,
what's
take a minute.
good for you. And I think everyone can notice that. And you're just crushing it in general in every aspect of life. Like you Giggly Squad, you do your own thing with fashion, of course, Summer House. Like you are just crushing it all over the place, and it's so amazing to say. Like that. I feel like every day you're just like taking on the world, and I love it.
I try so hard.
But it's working.
But it shows, but in an effortlessly cool kind of
exactly,
way.
in a very cool way. What's next for you? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of like Easter eggs on Giggly Squad.
Eggs coming up with Giggly Squad. Well, we're going on tour in the fall, which I'm so excited. We're doing like the most cities we've ever done.
Well, thank you so much, Paige.
Oh my God, thank you guys
so
for
happy
having
you
me.
finally came back in.
Me too. So happy you guys have the studio too.
I thank you. Yep.
Yes.
And sorry that West will never see it.
Yeah,
sucks for him.
Really disappointing.
So sad.
Yeah, but you're the best. Thank you so much.